I picked up this $3 mint plant from Walmart, and if yours always die, let me show you how to actually keep this one alive and even turn it into more plants. I've got 5 reasons why this mint plant and other herbs like it will die and 5 ways to fix it. Problem number 1 is, of course, root bound. So this small little pot is perfect for in your kitchen, just keeping it on the counter, in a windowsill, possibly in your grow area, wherever you want. But it's not so perfect for the mint itself, especially when that mint plant isn't just one, it's actually 3. And by this perfect example, you can tell one is doing great while the other 2 are struggling. But why is that? Well, because it's root bound, super bad. One plant is getting a whole lot of nutrients while the other 2 aren't getting as much. And just in general, when a plant root bounds, it struggles to get good nutrition. But luckily, it's a pretty quick fix. So you've really got 2 options when it comes down to fixing this. So the first step to it is going to be, of course, pruning those 2 smaller ones. We're going to prune those off at ground level, and we're going to put them to the side for later. Then with your main plant, you're going to want to go ahead and clip it. You're going to start at the stem, follow it up to the first 2 little leaves you see there, or the node, whichever one, and give it a clip right above that. And we're going to set it aside as well because we're going to need it later. So technique number 1, if you want to keep it in the windowsill or your grow setup, or just keep it in the tiny pot because that's what you want to do, go ahead and get it to stand up straight, add a little soil around the base of the plant, water it in really well, and let her eat. That's going to buy you at least a couple more months. And with this method, you're also adding extra nutrition, a little bit more space, and the mint will actually root in that upper soil from the stem, which is going to help anchor it up and try to keep it straighter. Number 2 is a complete up pot, which is what I'm actually going to do. After we prune it, we just pull it right out of there, pop it down into a new pot with some fresh potting mix, and call it good. Now, when you're picking your new pot size, you want to do what's going to be most convenient for you, even just a little bit bigger than that pot. It'll perform a lot better. Number 2 is, of course, the potting mix. So as a business owner, you want to save some money here and there and cut some corners, and this being a $3 mint plant, of course, you don't want to put a high-end potting mix in there because that's going to be expensive. You don't want to get a proper gallon to 2-gallon jug because, well, that's going to cost more as well. The problem I have with this is, of course, it looks like coconut coir, which is great for seed starting, but not so great for a full-grown plant, which is kind of what they're selling it as. You take it home, you can grow it in the kitchen. A lot of people are interested in doing that. So you take it home, you just go through the steps, and it toasts, and you're like, what happened? Well, this is one of the problems. There's no nutritional value in a coconut coir. Great for seed starting, not for a fully established plant. Now, these could be being sold as a fresh herb where you just bring it home, you cut it, and you pull the leaves off, you do your business with it, bada bing, bada boom. But not in my house. We are going to try to make this grow into an endless supply of mint. So how to fix this, of course, is to up pot or add soil to the pot itself. And remember that mint wants a well-draining soil, and this is the perfect time to add some amendments if you want to add a little nutritional value to the soil. Number 3 is, of course, poor indoor lighting. Mint loves sunlight, and it prefers full sun up to 6+ hours, but it's a super adaptable plant that actually can be invasive in most situations. In some situations, it's okay. And of course, in hot climates, you're going to want it to be in a little bit of shade because the hot part of the day, it's going to get toasted. And you want to keep your watering as consistent as possible to keep mint in good shape. But mint also struggles when you put it in full shade because fungal disease will run rampant in mint plants. Knowing all that, most super centers, supermarkets, however you want to say it, are really well lit. They're very bright. You walk in there, sunshine and rainbows, but not so much compared to the sun. Just because it's bright doesn't mean it's good for plants. And this is where a par reading would come in super handy. I'll go ahead and throw the full name up yonder. And I'm kind of curious how much of a par reading you could get at a supermarket just to see how much of this light that is in there is actually usable by plants. And if you want to see me run that experiment, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. And with the lights being so high with the big ceilings they have, and then with such a low input of waves that are usable by the plant, this is going to cause the plant to essentially be adapted to a shady situation. And with them being used to being grown in the shade, when you bring them home, you put them in the windowsill or your grow setup or however you so choose, you can essentially burn them, and they actually kind of die back a little bit just from the fact that they are now officially in a more direct lighting situation that they are not used to. So it's essentially like your seedlings in the beginning need to be dampened off. And you can actually do the same exact thing when you get home with your new mint plant by putting it off to the side from direct light in general, whether it be your grow setup or your windowsill. And then as you want to introduce more light, go ahead and put them in more direct light, starting with an hour, and then just keep increasing as the days go by till you reach 6+ hours. Number 4 is, of course, overwatering. So a lot of the big box stores, they don't have somebody in there that's what do they call, you want to be a master gardener, professional gardener, something along those lines. They, of course, are just an employee who gets paid to come do a job. So we can't necessarily blame them for this situation when you get them from the store. So what happens is they come through, they give them or just dump a whole bunch of water in them, and bing, bada, boom, they start. But with them dealing with soil that is poor draining anyway, any amount of water can lead to being too much of water. But it's a pretty quick fix. You can add perlite or a well-draining soil mix to the pot, or up pot them, whichever you so choose. And instead of just dumping water over the top, you could, of course, do underwatering, which is a 15 minutes in the tank, pull it out, dump off the excess, set it back in there, or just water over the top until it drops out the bottom. Once you start seeing a little bit of water coming out through there, let it finish draining off, and you should be good. And you should only need to water probably once to twice a week on average, about a 70-degree home. That's how I do it. All right, so number 5, I could have put in with number 4, but with it being a major issue and completely different fixes, I figure we just do them separate, and that is underwatering. So the issue with underwatering is once you look at it and you can see clearly that that plant is drooping, or the soil is obviously dry on the top layer, which you do need to reach down with your finger about an inch and make sure it's not wet underneath, because you do want that top layer to dry out a little bit just from getting dampening off disease. Now, another sure sign of that soil, which it being coconut coir, it'll do it pretty quickly, is the fact that it'll start pulling away from the sides if it's dry down below. Now, you figure underwatering can be easily fixed by dumping water on it. Well, if that soil has gotten to that point where it's pulling away, or you can clearly tell that it is completely dry, coconut coir a lot of the time is very hydrophobic. So you need to add a lot of water, and it's going to take a while for it to absorb it, because once it gets hydrophobic, you pour water on there, it's just going to run down the sides and out the bottom. So what I would suggest is, of course, taking those plants and just putting them in to do underneath watering, let them soak for 15 minutes, and then if there's excess water, dump it off. If there's no water, add more, wash, rinse, and repeat till you have to drain off excess water. Then let them hang out, and then follow the orders of 1 to 2 times a week for watering. Now that we've troubleshot, fixed some of the problems that were wrong with the mint in the first place, let's go ahead and turn this simple mint plant into hundreds of mint plants, or however many you need. Take your cuttings from before, go ahead and pull the bottom leaves off, grab you a nice mason jar. Well, we use a mason jar, but you can just use regular glass, whatever you want to do, and drop them down inside the water. Let them sit for a couple weeks, and one morning you'll walk in and you'll see roots coming out the bottom. I'd give it another couple of days to establish a little bit more rooting, but after that, grab you a cup. We use a cup, but you can use whatever pot you would like. Put some nice, I use a seed starting formula for this. I don't use coconut coir. I just run Fox Farm Happy Frog through a sieve, and that's what I use as my seed starter. And just pop your rooted cutting in there, cover those roots really well. Go ahead and water it thoroughly. You want to think like a wet, damp sponge. So if it's dripping, that's too much. If it looks dry, that's too little. I like to do the underneath watering 15 minutes, and as long as everything stays right, I'll do it that way. The only way I'm going to really water over the top is if I absolutely have to. And if you just keep repeating these steps over and over again, you will have an endless supply of mint. Now I've got to know, if I only do one more video like this, which herb should I save next? Type basil, cilantro, rosemary in the comments, and if it's a different one, that always dies on you, tell me that too. And I'll grab it from the store and see if it's one that we can turn into an endless herb as well.